So you had gotten out of the situation back in Cali, and you, I presume, talked to her over the phone or something?
Yes, sir.
She tells you she's pregnant, it's yours, and unless you come back, she is going to have the child.
Yes, sir.
What did you do in response to that? Did you witness her go to a doctor?
No, sir.
Did she tell you anything about that child she claimed was yours?
She told me that she had gotten an abortion.
But you never saw any documentation or
No, sir.
anything like that? Okay. So you're pulled back into this situation, you're back here in Vegas, and then you move out again to California.
Yes, sir.
When you moved back to California that time, do you remember your dad, Nikki, and the girls still staying at Blue Magic together?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then you go back to California, and when is it that you return?
A couple of years after that.
A couple of years?
I believe it was 4
Okay.
years after.
And you spoke with Ms. Griffith and I last night, right?
Yes, sir.
And we talked about, I'm going to ask you some questions, and if you don't know a date, you estimate, but don't guess. We're in agreement there, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you're doing your best with the dates?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you moved back this time, were the girls living with Nikki and just Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Where was your dad living?
Paul Drive.
Where did you move to?
Paul Drive.
So you lived with your dad?
Yes, sir.
Who else lived in the home?
Yoko and Yoshida.
Okay. Is Yoshida Yoko's partner, friend, boyfriend?
Yes, sir.
They're elderly folks?
Yes, sir.
When you lived with your dad, how was your relationship at that time?
It was fine. I worked with him.
You worked with him too?
Yes, sir.
Doing what?
Anything and everything.
Okay.
From moving houses to setting up backyards.
Moving houses, setting up backyards? Okay. So let me ask you kind of a general question before we move on. Is it fair for me to say that your dad was in and out of your life growing up?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a strong relationship with your dad as you're getting into your late teens, early 20s, or was it just kind of a, that's my dad and you don't see him too often, or what?
No, I love my father, so we have a strong relationship.
Okay. Did there come a point in time when you're living with him at Paladura and working that you guys have some disagreements about work and other stuff?
Yes, sir.
Would you consider your dad to have been a hard-headed person?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was he an opinionated guy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever tell your dad that you had been having a sexual relationship with the father of his other children?
With the mother, you mean?
The mother. Jesus, I said father. Yeah.
No, sir.
I apologize. Knowing your dad as you did, if he had known you were having a sexual relationship with his mother of his children, is he the type of guy that would have just said nothing and let it go?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you never tell him. I don't want to ask an obvious question, but why not?
I couldn't build up the courage to do it.
Okay. Eventually, do you move out of the Paladura?
Just 1 second, Mr. Duff. You can't hear him? Okay. And I'm sorry, sir. Your voice is, thank you so much. Your voice is just really soft to people. And we're going to see if we can figure out this. Sir, can you just say test for me?
Oh, test.
Can you hear him better now? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Duff.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
Nobody can be held in contempt.
All right. I'm going to keep that one in the back pocket. So you eventually move out of Paladura.
Yes, sir.
Dad stays, Yoko and Yoshida stay.
Yes, sir.
Where do you move?
To 5510 Porcupine Rim Street.
Did you move in with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
And I've been saying Nikki. Did you know Nikki by several different names?
Tracy, Devyn, and Nikki. Those three.
Tracy, Devyn, and Nikki?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Devyn spelled Devyn? Devyn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you, after moving out of Paladura and into Porcupine Rim, resume your sexual relationship with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Were your sisters living there, or was there some kind of custody arrangement? Or was that later?
That was later.
Okay. So when you first move into Porcupine Rim, can you give us a date, a year, an approximate year, anything like that? And if you need to use the date of your dad's death, August 7th, 2023, as a point of reference counting back.
Probably 2020.
Probably 2020?
Actually, I don't know.
Okay. So you live at, can we agree that you live at Porcupine Rim at least a couple of years with Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during this time frame, I'm going to ask you some very specific questions. Did there come a point in time when the family court became involved in the custody of the children?
Yes, sir.
Did Nikki lose custody of the children?
Yes, sir.
Was this before or after you married, if you remember?
After.
So after you married Nikki is when the custody thing happened.
Yes, sir.
Prior to that, were the girls living with you and Nikki at Porcupine Rim for however long you were living there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Dad, to your knowledge, is still living across town?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When Nikki lost custody of the children, did they move back in with your dad?
Yes, sir.
And to your knowledge, did they live out at the Paladura address?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how long they lived at Paladura with your dad?
No, sir.
Okay. Did there come a point in time in the summer months, just before your father's death, that the girls moved back in with you guys, you and Nikki at Porcupine Rim?
Yes, sir.
Did they stay over the summer?
Yes, sir.
Did they have bedrooms there?
Yes, sir.
And where were you sleeping at the time?
The master bedroom downstairs.
With Nikki?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were there times that you slept on the couch?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did your sexual, intimate relationship continue throughout the course of this time period?
Yes, sir.
I hate to air out your laundry, like I said, but I just have to ask it. When you're having this sexual relationship with Nikki, is it a tumultuous relationship?
I don't know the definition of that word.
Okay. Is there a lot of kind of arguing and back and forth, or you describe it for me?
There was arguing back and forth.
Were there times in which you yourself were trying to get out of this relationship?
Yes, sir.
Describe that. How many times? What's going on in your head at this time?
That when I tried to fill some shoes that I had no business filling.
Whose shoes?
My father's.
Okay.
Fantastic. If we could just get a little bit closer to the It's okay.
So you believe you said that you were trying to fill some shoes that you had no business filling. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
As a result of that, did you start to get a little uncomfortable and attempt to leave a couple of times?
Yes, sir.
Did there ever come a point in time, and I want to be precise here, prior to you learning of your dad's death, that you learned he was going to move in to the Porcupine Rim address?
Prior, no, sir.
So you didn't know he was going to move in prior?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you learn that at some point after?
I learned after the death when my grandmother was telling me about it.
Okay. Did you talk to your grandma like on the 7th?
The day after, yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to now bring you to August 6th, okay, 2023. On that day, were you living at the Porcupine Rim address?
Yes, sir.
Were the girls living there?
Yes, sir.
Was Nikki living there?
Yes, sir.
Do you know or remember what you did during the day on August 6th?
I woke up and went to work, and I got a phone call from my grandfather saying that my dad was critically injured.
All right, so he basically blew the whole story for the defense out the water, saying he didn't even know that his father was moving in. Remember, the defense says he killed his father because he didn't want his father moving into the house. All right, we'll take a break here. When we come back, we'll have more from inside that courtroom in Nevada. Keep it here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice. Drew me to Court TV was this opportunity to combine the two things that I love. When I was in college, I studied television and radio, and then, of course, went to law school. And when I found out that Court TV was going to give me the opportunity to express myself and to share my love of the law, I was sold immediately.
The most important issue, innocence or guilt.
Started as a production assistant, then AP, and then went up the ranks, and really haven't looked back since. Welcome back, folks. Before we get you back to court, I want to bring in our guest for this hour. Here to discuss is attorney Dwight Williams. Dwight, great to see you. Thank you so much for being on the program. And first and foremost, let me just get your thoughts on this case. The facts are sort of out of left field. This particular witness, very important to both sides, really. And he's up there. He's the husband. He doesn't necessarily have to testify, but he is. Basically, the defense is pointing the finger at him, so I thought really he has no choice. But your thoughts?
I don't mean to over-dramatize this, but this perhaps is the most important witness of this trial. The defense is pointing at this person saying, this is the man who committed this crime, not my client, not the defendant. I think it's very smart of the prosecutor to put that witness up there immediately, have him tell his story about what happened. Already they've elicited some good testimony from him about his lack of knowledge or awareness that the father would be living with the family. One of the main contentions or points that the defendant is trying to make, that he was mad that the father was coming to live with him. He's saying, I had no idea the father was coming to live with him. He's got a soft-spoken style about him. He doesn't seem the type who might hurt someone. We'll see what the cross-examination brings about, but a very important witness. And, once again, I think it's one of the more critical witnesses in this case for the prosecution to bring forth and to say, he's not the guy who did it, and the jury hopefully feels that way.
Yeah, it's going to be all about that cross-examination. It's got to be, right? You got to score some points on this kid while he's on the stand. And I call him a kid because he's coming across that way. And one of the things that's coming across him, he seems a bit scared. But he's made a decision to testify. He's obviously probably represented by someone, so this is the right thing to do. But the vibe that it's given me is that this is a woman who's probably about 10 to 15 years his senior. And just from the little story he told about, she told him she was pregnant and he had to come back or she was going to have the baby. She seems like the one who's got to be manipulating this entire situation.
Yes, I mean, ultimately, he comes across, once again, as someone who, for the most part, seems to be innocent, soft-spoken. As you mentioned, was Devyn the one who kind of caused this circumstance, brought him into this situation? Tempted him into this relationship. I think the jury's sitting there kind of feeling somewhat sympathetic towards the witness who kind of got in the middle of this. Obviously, they're not happy that he had a relationship with someone, while she's also having a relationship with that person's father. But ultimately, he's the more younger of the two of them. And I think the jury's probably going to point to her and say, well, what were you thinking about this, ma'am?
You know what she was thinking? She was grooming him, is what she was thinking. All right, stand by, Dwight. We're going to head back to court now. The victim's son's still on the stand. He's testifying about what happened the day before his father was killed.
Let me clarify here. I'm talking about the day before you were notified.
Oh, I went to work.
Okay, so you work on the 6th.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what Nikki and the girls were doing that day?
No, sir.
Did there come a point in time after you get home from, and I should ask you, did you drive a work van?
Yes, sir.
Is that the white one that was parked in front of the home?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's another vehicle out front of the home. Whose was that? Not the Nissan Armada, but the little sedan.
Oh, that was my vehicle, sir.
Was that operable at the time?
Yes, sir.
And did you drive it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The night of August 6th, you get home from work. Do you remember a point in time where you saw your dad at the Porcupine Rim address?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
So I just got off of work. I was helping with the girls with their homework, and I believe I went into the garage and I saw my father bringing over a bunk bed and a desk for the girls, and his back was turned to me, so I closed the garage door.
So you didn't talk to him?
No, sir.
How was your relationship at that point in time?
We hadn't talked for a while.
At some point prior to that, had he learned that you had actually married Nikki?
Yes, sir.
How was that conversation, or if you had a conversation about it?
He sent me a text message asking, or saying, I don't know what you're doing, but it's not right. And I responded with half of what you know is true and the other half isn't.
So your dad clearly knew you were formally married.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the date you got married?
No, sir.
Did you ever get divorced?
No, sir.
Is that something you would like to do?
After this, yes.
Okay. Once this trial is done?
Yes.
Okay. That night when you see your dad moving the girls' stuff into the garage, you don't talk?
No, sir.
Okay. What did you do after that? Did you just go back inside or what?
I went back inside and I continued watching the movie with the girls.
Okay. Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury kind of how the night progressed from there.
So I continued watching the girls, watching the movie with them, and Nikki had told me that she was going to go help John move some things, and I said okay, so I stayed at the house. We continued watching the movie, and I believe when the movie was over, I had put them down in bed, and I myself went to sleep.
Do you remember where you put them down to bed?
Yes, they had individual rooms upstairs. So I took them upstairs, I had them change into the pajamas, and then went to bed.
Okay. And then where would you have gone to sleep that night?
Downstairs in the master bedroom.
Do you remember texting Nikki saying something to that effect?
I remember texting her, letting her know that I had put the girls to sleep, and I myself was going to sleep because I had work the next day.
You had work the next day?
Yes, sir.
What time did you typically work?
I believe it was 8 a.m. or 8:30.
Okay. So I'm not going to show you a text message, but you remember sending a text message. Do you
Yes.
remember the time of that text message?
I believe it was 10 p.m.
Okay. And so after the text message is sent, do you remember receiving a response from Nikki, or you just go to bed?
I just went to bed.
And if I didn't ask you, where did you go to sleep?
Downstairs in the master bedroom.
The normal place you sleep.
Yes.
When you went to bed, was Nikki home?
No, sir.
That would be why you sent her the text, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember waking up at any point after falling asleep that night?
I remember waking up around 2 to her getting into bed, and since I had work early in the morning, I didn't ask anything of her. I just looked over, I saw her, and I went back to sleep.
This was to you, a normal night, right? You would have no reason to ask her anything, right?
No, because if they were moving things around, they were just working through the night to try to get it all done.
Okay. When you looked over, did you see anything out of sorts about her? I mean, I understand it was a normal night for you, but like, did you observe anything that was different?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you go back to sleep after that around 2?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when you woke up the next morning?
Yes, sir.
When was that?
Around 6 a.m.
Tell the jury how that morning progressed.
I woke up around 6 a.m. and I got ready for work. I'm usually the first one that's up, so I got dressed and I went to work.
Do you remember seeing Nikki or the girls or anything that morning after you woke up?
No, sir.
Okay. And do you remember where your job was that day by chance?
I worked at Hometronics, so I was all over the place in my space.
Okay. And when you're working, do you drive the, work van?
Yes, sir.
When you're on your off days, do you drive the work van or the car?
The car.
Okay. So on this day, can we presume that you're driving the work van if you're doing a job?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, believe you said you work normally around 8:30.
Yes, sir.
At some point in time, do you get a phone call?
Yes, sir.
Describe that for the jury.
It was a phone call from my grandfather saying that my father was critically injured and he's in the hospital.
Okay. Okay. When your grandfather tells you that, what do you do?
I proceeded to call my boss to take off with it.
And did you learn a little more information from another family member after that?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
That he had passed away, and I didn't get any information on how he actually died.
All right, so he said Nikki shows up back at the house around 2 a.m. It was that night that this thing happened, so she might have been just coming home from doing it. All right, we need to pause it right there. We're going to hear from a witness, or from this witness, about how he was coping after learning about his dad's murder. That's when we come back, so keep it here on your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to our special coverage of the Love Triangle beheading trial going on in Nevada. I'm Michael Ayala. Devyn Michaels is accused of killing and decapitating her boyfriend, Jonathan Willette, back in August of 2023 when she was moving in, or he was moving in with her and their 2 daughters after they were trying, or at least to get back together. He was. The prosecution claims that Michaels started having concerns that Willette would disrupt the home life that she already had with their children and her husband, Deviere Willette, the guy on the stand who's also the victim's son from a previous relationship. But the defense alleges it was Deviere who killed his father because he was afraid of losing Michaels and their home. We want to head back now inside the courtroom where Deviere is testifying about what he did after learning that his father was dead.
Okay. So initially, the first call, critically injured, but you tell your work, hey, I got to go. You learn after that he's passed.
Yes, sir.
I guess where do you go from work?
Straight on.
What do you do when you go home?
Started drinking.
Okay. Did you drink back then?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember, before you started drinking, if the girls or Nikki were home when you arrived home?
No, sir.
You don't remember, or they were not?
They weren't home.
They were not home?
No.
Okay. On that date, August 7th, do you continue drinking after learning of your dad's death?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the next time you saw Nikki?
I don't. I drank myself to sleep for next couple of days.
Okay. So is it fair to say those couple days, after learning that on August 7th and maybe into the 8th, maybe the 9th, you're drinking pretty consistently?
Yes, sir.
Is it a bit of a blur for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At some point in time, do you remember police coming to the Porcupine Rim home?
Yes, sir.
And did they come inside and they do a full search and everything?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember what day that was?
No, sir.
Okay. I want to ask you some questions about items in your home. At the time you were working for Hometronics, correct?
Yes, sir.
You had the work truck.
Yes, sir.
I presume you had some tools.
Yes, sir.
Were there times in which you had saws and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Do you normally carry a saw, or is that something you use for particular jobs, or how does that work?
I had a drywall saw inside my bag along with a screwdriver, a flathead, an electric drill, measuring tape, leveler.
Okay. Is there a safe inside your home, or was there back then?
Yes, sir.
What was that safe used for?
Guns.
Did you have guns?
Yes, sir.
How many do you have, or did you have back then?
3.
You're allowed legally to possess guns, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have 3 guns. Are they handguns?
Yes, sir.
And do you remember having them on August 7th, or was this general around that time frame?
We've owned the guns for a while.
Okay. Did your dad have guns too?
No, sir.
Okay. So you had guns, your dad didn't?
No, sir.
At least to your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So try to give us any memory you have, but you don't remember the next time you saw Nikki, but you did see Nikki back at the home, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember her being there when the police came?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at least when we can figure out from the police when they showed up, you know you saw her then.
Yes, sir.
When is it that you have any conversation with her about your dad's passing?
I believe it was the night the night that I had found out, I was drinking heavily, and I believe she came home and said, "I'm sorry that this happened," and I kind of just wanted to be alone.
Okay. You eventually, during the course of that search of your home, you're interviewed by police, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that was recorded.
Yes, sir.
At some point in time, you give a lengthier interview, correct? An interview.
Oh, yes, sir.
And with that, you understand that was recorded as well.
Yes, sir.
You ultimately learn that Nikki is arrested, correct?
Yes, sir.
When is it, if you remember, that you learn she's arrested for the murder of your dad?
I want to say a week afterwards, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. So somewhere in the range of a week or 2 weeks after the actual death.
Yes, sir.
In the interim, before she gets arrested and after your dad's death, do you remain at Porcupine Rim?
Yes, sir.
Do you question what happened to your dad?
Yes, sir.
Are there a lot of kind of unanswered questions you have during that time frame?
Yes, sir.
Did there come a point in time after her arrest that she contacted you from the detention center?
Yes, sir.
And Judge, we would move to admit 631, which is a recording of that contact.
Any objection?
No objection. Thank you.
631 will be now.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break now. It sounds like when we come back, we're going to hear a jailhouse phone call. You never know what you're going to get from those things. And of course, we'll have much more testimony as well. Keep it here on Court TV Live.
Celebrity trials are like no other. You not only have the drama of what's happening inside of the courtroom, there's the drama of who these people are. Paparazzi everywhere, people just hoping to get a glimpse. It's something that we haven't seen anything quite like.
A strong showing for the case against Robert Kelly.
There's this balance between the pizzazz of celebrity and the seriousness of a trial in a courtroom, and Court TV gets to bring you all of it.
All right, folks, before we get you back to court, I want to bring back in to discuss Attorney Dwight Williams. And Dwight, I want to get your thoughts on how this young man is doing on the stand. Basically, he said he was asleep at the time when police believe the murder happened. He says that Devyn returned home at around 2 a.m., which is kind of borne out by the evidence in the case, because she's seen leaving the house on the other side of town at about 2. So whatever time it took her to get across town, that's when she returns home. How do you think he's doing on the stand? Convincing?
I think so far so good, Michael. Once again, very soft-spoken, but they've got that microphone in close to him now so the jury can really hear him. But he is not, as far as I can tell, contradicted anything that the prosecution presented in their opening statements yesterday. It seems as if he's coming across, once again, very well in terms of his testimony today. Has not contradicted anything as far as I can tell. His reaction to the crime and the news of the crime seems very normal. Someone who heard that their father passed away, likely would drink themselves to sleep that night. His recollection of the wife coming back home and kind of having a brief conversation with him. Perhaps the defense will try to knock that during cross-examination. Well, how could you be in your right mind if you drank yourself to sleep and know when exactly she returned? But ultimately, I think he's doing a pretty good job, Michael.
Yeah, and again, right now, it's hard for me to envision this particular person on the stand doing what happened in this case. Let's talk about the nature of the murder. There was a decapitation, and whoever decapitated the victim took the head. They have not found that, nor the weapons used. And we'll find out later that perhaps there was a knife and a saw used, which is why you heard those questions about him having access to a saw. That's one of the things that the defense is using in their favor to suggest he did it. But the nature of the murder, what does it say to you? It clearly says to me, whoever wanted this person dead was angry at him, didn't like this person, and wanted to basically erase their existence.
Yes, so what a horrible circumstance for this victim's family. I mean, it's worse, bad enough that he was taken from them, but his head was removed as well. It has not been found. I mean, that's just an awful circumstance. And like you said, Michael, it seems as if there was some intent there. I don't know if it was the notion that somehow he wouldn't be discovered. Or it seemed as if, like you said, Michael, there was some bad intention there to really disfigure, scar this person, really mutilate him. So it's an unfortunate turn of events, but it goes towards really the heinous nature of this crime that the prosecutors are trying to establish.
Yeah, and he's killed in his house, right? Taking the head is not what you would do under those circumstances when you're trying to stop people from identifying a body, right? There's a million other ways you do that. So that couldn't have been the reason for doing it. Again, I think it goes back to this person having real emotional feelings towards this person. So was it him or was it her? And when we talk about this case and what the evidence is, there's also the sense that cutting someone's head off, and I hate to say this, it's not easy. We've heard this in other trials, right? It's very difficult to cut through the neck and the spine and all those things. You need a saw. I want to know if you think that this is the type of crime that a woman would commit. Again, it seems like a crime. I don't know. I just want to get your thoughts on, again, the nature of the crime and the violence of the crime. And does it line up with this defendant?
I think you've heard in previous other murder instances where women have been able or been accused of such heinous actions. I think it certainly is possible Maybe she wasn't quite in her right frame of mind. Maybe she took something prior to this event happening, if she did indeed do it. I think it's well within the realm of possibility that someone in a crime of passion like this could do something like this. It's incredible. And you spoke to the evidence. I mean, there's certainly a lot of good evidence that the prosecution has raised already in the case, establishing her whereabouts there. And once again, I don't think the husband's son has done anything to contradict that so far.
Yeah, and I would have to agree. We're going to have to wait to see how that cross goes. Again, like I said, all right, Dwight, stand by. I want to get you folks back right inside that courtroom. Now, when we left off, the state was getting ready to play a call. This was a jailhouse call between Deviere, Willette, and Nikki, the defendant.
An incarcerated individual has entered the detention center. This call is not private. It will be recorded and may be monitored. If you believe this should be a private call, please hang up and follow facility instructions to register this number as a private number.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you call for that?
Why does
What?
what would you like to tell me?
I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to get information. They won't tell me anything. They were there.
There's something about you and you're not very pleasant.
I was told they're holding me here while they look for evidence. Because they don't have any evidence. They have no murder weapon, no motive, no nothing. They're holding me here to find it.
You should have restarted.
What?
You sound like you should have been restarted.
I haven't gone to court yet. I go to court tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'm not doing this out for you.
Okay.
You guys have to go with my grandfather. Are you getting second person so they can go with him as they might go with your grandparents? So will you get released tomorrow?
I should. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's literally what's going on. They have
Did you ask what's going on?
yes. They have absolutely nothing on me. They showed me a picture of a bottle of soft or cleaning detergent. And they said, you have one in your house. And I'm like, okay. They're like, well, this would be at his house. Like,
If you're getting released tomorrow, I'll leave the door.
no, I hear them if you go to California.
I was very funny because I was believe all you know about you because you're not leaving.
All the way up.
But as long as it's about you, never happened.
News article?
that he can get released. I still don't know what to believe. I'm sorry. But yes, I'm going to have one. And if you are getting released tomorrow, I'll leave it open. If not, then I have to do something with them. I don't know who's going to over there to get close to the house.
And he just started taking really the news articles about he and how literally nothing.
Was so bad and points that he did it. The second one was very graphic and still points that he did it. Like I said, if you go in court and release you, I still don't know what to believe and I can't be here.
Deviere, you mentioned a couple of news articles there.
Yes, sir.
When was it that you first learned of the graphic nature of what happened to your dad after his death?
I believe it was the day prior to the phone call that I was sent an article from the Las Vegas News explaining what happened to my father and that she was involved in that.
Okay. At the end of that phone call, somebody hung up. Who did that?
She did.
When you were telling her, I'm leaving to California, I'll leave the dog, had you already planned when all this kind of madness started to break it off?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that essentially what the jury just heard, your breakup conversation?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember if you ever talked again after that?
We never talked to him after that.
Look at me. Did you kill your father?
No, sir.
Did you have any involvement in killing your father?
No, sir.
Did you have any involvement in what happened to his body after?
No, sir.
Pass witness.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a moment of cross-examination. We're going to take a brief recess before we get the cross-examination of this witness. During this recess, you must not discuss or communicate with anyone, including fellow jurors, in any way regarding this case or its merits.
All right, so that was the end of his direct examination. Great way to end it. Just ask him straight, point blank, the questions: are you responsible for the death of your father? Were you involved at all? Of course, no, no, and no. And ultimately, this jury will have to decide if he's telling the truth. The cross will come tomorrow, so we'll definitely show you that.